So recently I've seen a load of videos about this little screen. This is a LILYGO T-Display-S3. It's actually a touchscreen version of it, and I like it for two reasons. One is that it's a really high quality display, even though it's quite small. And two, it looks like an old iPhone. Look at that, it's got the little button, it's got the black shroud, it's super cool. It looks really nice, but is it any good? So I saw some really nice looking videos like this one. Lots of great info there, but I didn't see anything about the touch capabilities. And if I'm going to use it in future projects, I want the touchscreen to be able to work. So what I'm going to do in this video is we're going to take a look at this device and see how good the touchscreen really is. So we're going to look much closer into that. I'll give you a quick overview of how you program this device and how I wrote this Wordle code because it's kind of fun. So let's make a start. So before we dive into the code, let's just have a quick look at this unit. So it's a screen and a microcontroller combined. The screen is actually 1.9 inch diagonal and it has 170 pixels in the horizontal and 320 in the vertical. It's got two basically general purpose buttons and a little reset button on the side. It's actually a full color TFT display, and also it's got USB-C, which is super convenient. Let's turn it over. So on the back side, you can see quite a few things. You can actually see the ESP32-S3. So that's actually a dual core processor with 16 megabytes of flash and 8 megabytes of PS RAM. Also super useful on this, it's actually got a connector for a battery and a battery controller and one of the IOs to allow you to monitor the battery voltage. Going into a little bit more detail, you can actually see that it's got an external connector for Wi-Fi. And also it's got several IOs, but you have to be a little bit careful because some of these are used for the touch functionality. They make this version in touch and non-touch. So if you go for the non-touch version, you've actually got a lot more IO. But really, for most applications, you still have something, at least 8 or 9 spare IOs and ADCs available. So that's pretty useful. I'll put the schematic up from the LILYGO website anyway, so you can see exactly what pins connect to what. But overall, it's a super sleek, nice, compact unit. And I love the fact that you can just plug a battery directly in and power it. And I tried that and it works really well. Just before I get this programmed up, I'm going to put it inside a little 3D printed case I made earlier. So as you can see, I actually printed this out earlier today on my 3D printer at work. It's a Bamboo Labs one. It's super cool, really quick. It took about 30 minutes to print, right from just uploading the file to taking the part away. I printed it with supports and I think it used about 11 grams of filament, and it's not my design. I actually downloaded the design from Thingiverse and I'll link that file because it's really cool. Let me show you how it works. It's basically got like this sort of very thin piece of plastic here that links to the buttons, so the buttons can actually press in, which I find super good. And here as well, you can hit the reset button. Screen simply slides in like that, push it all the way in. You can see the USB is accessible and that little port there is accessible. And the best thing is these buttons, look, you can hear them, they click. That's really cool. And simply all you need to do to finish it off is slide that on there and push them together so they click. So let's get this programmed up. Programming this screen is not so straightforward. It's not as easy as just simply plugging it in and hitting upload like you would do with a normal ESP32. You actually have to go to this GitHub page. I'll link it below. Download the zip file. It's massive, like 300 megabytes, so I'm not going to do it. Once you get the zip file, you can actually open it up and see inside, and it's got loads and loads of information. It's got data sheets, it's got drawings, it's got everything you need really. But the most important thing is in this lib folder, and you really need to copy this TFT SPI to your Arduino library directories. I'm not going to show you. I'm going to link to that great video by Volos Project and follow that video for step-by-step guides. It's really good. So once you've done that, you can simply go into Arduino and upload your code. So what I've done here is I've written a really simple code. Basically, I've bodged together a few different codes, one for plotting things on the screen and one for accessing the touch. So let me upload this code. What you can now see is that the screen is showing basically a UI with a yellow dot on it. And at the top of the screen, it says target. And that's actually the pixel position of the yellow dot. And I'm going to try and touch with my finger exactly where the yellow dot is. Oof. But you can get quite close with a little bit of trial and error. So look, there's an error of around 5 pixels there. That's pretty good. So it's a capacitive touchscreen, so you wouldn't expect miracles. Let's go again. Yeah, not bad. I can get reasonably accurate with that. Certainly, I think when I go to that little Wordle example that I coded up, that's going to be good enough for those little keys, because I can always be within sort of 5 pixels if I pay attention of the actual target. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with the performance of that capacitive screen. Just out of interest, whilst I have it connected, there's a little bit of glare from my lamp, I'm afraid. So I have to keep things at the bottom of the screen, but you can see it's drawing around 600 milliwatts. So that's a relatively high amount of power. It won't last very long on a small battery, that's for sure. As I mentioned at the intro of the video, I really like playing Wordle. The New York Times version of it's like the original, but it's only available once a day. I know you can download it for your phone, etc., but I thought it'd be fun to try and code up something that mimics that real Wordle. So here's the code on the screen. I'll put it on my blog and link it below. It's pretty massive, and there's a good reason for that. So let's quickly go through it, see what's going on. Basically, you need to set the screen up. And also, I did a little bit of a calibration where I tried to touch the 4 corners of the actual display, and I couldn't really get to the 4 corners. Of course, that should be 0, that should be 170, 0 again, and that should be 320. So basically, I can't touch outside that range. What else is there here? Also, the screen is a little bit sensitive. So if you press on it, you need some kind of like a debounce, almost like a physical switch. And here I'm having a 140 millisecond debounce. Well, the next sort of thing I spent a long time on, far longer than I should have done, was how to actually arrange that keyboard. So I didn't know whether to have 6 on a row, 5 on a row, different numbers on a row, how to physically place those on the screen to make it look reasonable. When we zoom in on the actual Wordle, you'll see that. What else is there? This is basically where the guesses are going to go. And now this is the slightly embarrassing things. There's a lot of 5-letter words, okay? There's about 15,000 of them, and I found a list of these on GitHub, which I'll link below. The problem is, I was a little bit lazy, and I basically just copied them, all 15,000 of them, directly into the Arduino sketch. Now, if one of my students had submitted code like this, I'd be pretty furious because it makes it ridiculously impossible to read. Also, just look at some of these words. I have no idea what those things are. So I don't know if the New York Times uses such a big word list, because some of these words I've literally never heard of, and you can see there's a massive number of them. So let me scroll down. So just slightly under 15,000 words. As you can see, as I scroll down through the code, there's basic functions for drawing rows and the keyboard and all those kind of things. In terms of the gameplay, I try to mirror what the New York Times does. So basically, if you guess a word and 2 of the letters are correct in the correct place, they're green. If 2 of the letters are correct but in the wrong place, they're sort of an amber color. So here's the gameplay. So slightly different to the New York Times. When you actually guess the word, it tells you well done and waits for around 5 seconds and then restarts. And that's really it. So here we are. Here's the uploaded code. And I don't know how it looks on the camera because I've only got a tiny little screen. But to my eye, it looks absolutely crystal clear. It looks like a proper keyboard, and I can see where the 5 guesses are going to go. So let's give it a game. Let's play. I don't know about you guys, but I always start Wordle with the word trace. Basically, it's got 2 vowels and common consonants. So T, R, C, found in a lot of words. Let's give it a go. I don't know if you saw that, but that was buttery smooth. There was no editing there. That was just trace straight down without any double taps or any missed letters or anything like that. Really impressive given how small those keys are compared to these fingers. You can see trace was not a bad guess there. It's got 2 letters. A's in the right place, E's in the wrong place. just to show you a bit more of the gameplay, let's just make up a word and make sure that doesn't give us any positive letters. You know, this is not a recognized word, so it shouldn't go on to the next line. And you can see there, when I hit enter, it flashed red to tell me it's not a proper word. Delete key works nicely. Let's have another guess. Okay, so I'm going to guess leaky, like a leaky pipe. So this time E and A in the correct place, but nothing else. Okay, let's try. Oops. Oh, perhaps. There you go. Beano. Is that a real word? I'm not really sure. It's obviously a real word, but isn't it a name of a comic? Maybe I'm showing my age. But anyway, you saw what happened. I guessed the word and it flashed well done and then it restarts, so I can have another go. But anyway, I'll bring the video to a close there and say thank you for watching. I hope you found it useful. I really encourage you to go and pick one of these little T-displays up because they're so cool. I'm amazed at how good that touchscreen is and how high quality the screen is, and that it's controlled by that ESP32-S3. So it's basically got everything going for it. Hope you found the video useful. If you've got any comments, put them down below and I'll see you in the next one.